Hi, 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 hi. I've seen this new trend since yesterday. A black man, 43 years old, in Baltimore, Maryland, um, killing his pregnant girlfriend, then his wife, would, ex-wife, with whom he shared two kids, and then he ended his own life. So it's a triple murder suicide, which is really sad. No matter how you look at things. But I haven't seen this part really been covered, the whole allegations. Sometimes women use allegations of abuse, either physical or sexual, against men in custody battles because most custody battles like these days aren't really about the kid. It's about the parents' egos and trying to hurt each other for grievances that have nothing to do with the woman being a good mother or the man being a good father. But I felt like most of the people, either men or women, chipping in on this tragedy, for really forget one part. Being accused of any crime falsely is very unjust. It hurts you, it stresses you, it might destroy your life, either by sending you to jail or attaching that stigma on you. Because even if most people don't believe it, even if only 20% of the people that heard about it believes it, it's still detrimental to your reputation, to your value. People will see you differently. Some people will, especially when it comes to sex crimes, some people will always have doubt. Even if you go to court and win, even if you never prosecuted, because the issue is not really prosecution. The issue is to attach that stigma, the stigma that will make the judge um, decide that a father cannot see his kids without supervision is the same stigma. Your neighbors, your family, your ex's family, different people will see you differently. You might not even be allowed to be alone with your own kids, then your own nephews and nieces, then other kids. People will see you, even if they don't say it, the doubt will remain. So most people dealing with it, yeah, of course, it's a tragedy. It should have never happened. You know, he should have used other avenues to get justice. But it's easy to say when you're not in their shoes, man. It's easy to say. Imagine being a father, not only losing custody, but losing custody because your ex accuses you of not beating your kids, which is bad in itself, physical abuse, but molesting your own children. Imagine that. Yeah, it happens sometimes. Fathers, stepfathers, mothers, people abuse their kids. It's very bad when it happens. But imagine being falsely accused for doing something like that. Then leaving that situation, stressed, depressed, getting into another situation with another woman who is pregnant and who start using your that past against you, telling you you might not be able to see your unborn child. Dude should have been in therapy. He should have been in therapy since the first situation. And people have to learn to go to therapy. But like, what was his recourse? Nobody's talking about it. When she accused him, when he lost custody, what was the recourse? I've seen so many cases. I was even watching this thing on Oprah once. This father, it was Ian Love, Fix My Life. This father who did, I think, jail time for being falsely accused of molesting his kids. And now they just ask, and the mother and the children were just asking them to forgive, just to forgive like that after destroying his life for years and years and years. We nobody is justifying in a homicide. It should never come to that. But what's the recourse? People want to act like being falsely accused of sex crime is just something to get over. Just move on with your life. You can't move on with your life when people are looking at you like you hurt children. Even criminals in jail, even murderers don't tolerate child molesters. Even murderers don't tolerate people that do crimes against children. No, if you do a poll, if you do a poll, I won't be surprised if people that do crimes against children are more hated than murderers. And I understand that feeling because children are innocent, especially you, the dad or the mother. God gave you those child. And when you the one hurting those child, people don't forgive that. People don't tolerate that. So let's not just cover it like, be like, oh, he should have just moved on with his life. He shouldn't have taken those lives and then his own life. But what was the recourse? How could he have just moved on from his children? How could he have repaired his reputation in front of society? Because he was, it looks like he was never prosecuted for it. He never went to jail for it. So going to jail or being prosecuted wasn't the issue. The issue was stigma. How can you alleviate such stigma? How can you fight such stigma? Because most people won't come and accuse you in your face, call you name, call you somebody that hurt children, but they'll just keep their children away from you. They'll just stop seeing you. They just not allow you in their houses. And that could be worse than going to jail. That could be worse than going to jail. You know, it's not even close. Most people, if you put most people and ask them, okay, being falsely accused of murder and beating the case and winning, and being falsely accused of sex crime and beating the case, what will you choose? I think most people would choose the first one because in the first one, you can win the case and actually prove it. But when it comes to false allegations against of sex crimes, especially against children that can talk, especially if they are at a younger age, they cannot say it themselves, somebody else speaking for them, you might win it in the court of law, but like in society, people will look at you suspiciously. I feel like there's nothing more evil than somebody being falsely accused of a crime against children, especially their own children. That should never be okay in a fight for custody. No matter how hurt you are in a relationship as a woman or as a man, you should not accuse your ex of those kind of crimes without like solid proof. Without solid proof. That's not tactical, man. That's not tactical. That's not moral. That's immoral. And most people not dealing with that. People call him dude a better man, Sam. Yeah, he's a criminal. He's a murderer, and I'm not an apologist for murder. But calling him a better man, Sam, that will stress any man, alpha male, beta male, whatever man. That'll stress any man, white man, black man. That's crazy. That's crazy. In America, like I see most people even staying away from kid in general if it's not their children. But if we get into a zone where like you don't even want to stay with your own kids without supervision because and a bitter ex might accuse you of something, what kind of society we trying to build? What kind of society will we have? So I'm just, I'm really disappointed on a lot of the analysis and takes I'm seeing, even on the so-called manosphere, people just dealing it like it was any kind of child custody issue gone wrong. It's not a regular child custody, man. When somebody is accusing you of hurting your own children, physical abuse like beating kids is bad, but like you'll have divided opinion on that. Some people favor the belt or things like that. But when it comes to sexually touching kids, even criminals, even murderers, nobody. And that's just so evil. That crime is so evil. It hurts the human soul. Even automatically when somebody is suspected of that, even when I be like, when I say like, oh, let justice deal with it, we need proof. But even me, I will look at the person sideways, even without no proof. So why would somebody accuse you of that? That stigma is just. Um, I'll give you an example. In New York, for instance, people like saying like men will get mad and tell all the men, suck my, baby paws, something like that. And I heard so many guys saying that if the guy told them that, they'll have to do something about it. So many straight guys say if somebody tell me that I'll do something crazy, drastic. But like being accused of hurting your own kids is thousand time, million time worse than that. So just imagine yourself in a father's shoes being accused, falsely accused of such crime. I'm not saying he's, those allegations against do for, but he was never prosecuted. He never went to jail for it. So are we convicting people without prosecution? So just think about it. I know there's a lot of different ways of coming at that subject. It's very sad that those two women lost their life and that unborn child that didn't do no crime losing his, his life because his life was attached to his mother's life. So it's a sad story of overall, but I feel like we really have to deal with it. Stop pushing people, stop bullying people, stop emotionally abusing people. Even the strongest man, so-called alpha male, will break down under such circumstances. Again, I'm not justifying the murders. I'm just saying that there's another way of looking at this tragedy. Thank you.